Hey, what's up, Boxers? Trey here. So, really excited. Got a big announcement for you guys. And then we're going to do something special today. We're going to do a little History of Buildbox. But let's start off with a special announcement. If you haven't heard, we have helped 25 games get publishing deals just in the past 6 months. So, we've got this program called Publisher Elite where I work hands-on with developers, helping them come up with ideas, finalizing their games, and then I pitch it to a publisher for them. We work with every major publisher out there, from Ketchup to Nannovation, Fortify, Voodoo, you name it. And it's been wildly successful, really cool. We just announced that on our blog. Now, you're probably wondering, what is Publisher Elite? What am I talking about? And to answer that question, first we're going to do something fun. We're going to do a history of Buildbox and how this whole thing actually came to be. So it actually all started back in 2011. I got on Odesk and I hired a developer to create a video game. That guy was Nick Rudinko, the one and only. So he was the coder. I would come up with ideas, bounce it off of him. He'd come up with great ideas, and we released some pretty cool games like Jump Pack and Colo's Journey, Monster Magic. A lot of those games did well. Then I started blogging about this. I didn't have buildbox.com. I didn't have Game Academy, which we'll get to in a second. All I had was TreySmithBlog.com, and I would write blog posts about developing these games. One of those blog posts was about the rise of freemium. This is early App Store stuff. This is before all the top grossing games were freemium games. The #1 game at the time was Angry Birds. And the blog post I wrote was called The Fall of Angry Birds, and it was about how Angry Birds was falling, and with its fall, premium was coming to an end, and we were going to see a rise in freemium games. So now it sounds obvious, back then it was not, and this blog post went viral. It was #1 on Hacker News, it was in the New York Times, on a bunch of different news publications and tech websites, and we got like 100,000 visits from that blog post, and the blog really started taking off. So now we had all these daily blog readers. I was building up an email list, already had an email list previously, and it was getting bigger. We had a lot of people interested in what we were doing in this game business. So I decided to start selling courses. But the thing is, it was weird to sell courses on how to start a game business on just a blog called Trey Smith Blog. So I ended up buying GameAcademy.com, and I started selling courses through Game Academy. We had a lot of different courses. So we had some courses just on building apps. We had some specifically just for mobile games. We had cheap courses. We sold source codes. I built a social game. I spent a ton of money on, sold the source code for that, and had courses on how to build social games, just everything you can think of about gaming. But something interesting happened. As I'm helping all of these developers and game business owners, thousands of people, create game businesses, they started cherry picking, just like I was, getting great guys off of these outsource sites like Nick and hiring them full time. So we saw a lot of people starting to have problems. Developers started charging more money, and then they weren't completing projects, it was taking too long, etc. And I talked to Nick and I was like, hey man, can we create a game builder, a way to really do it? And I actually went and tried other game builders, and I was like, this is too hard, can we make it really simple? So we did, and it was called Project Zero. And we gave this away for free to some people who bought a different course, and people loved it. They totally freaked out. They were like, this is so cool. And it was really simple. All it could do was make a basic space shooter style game. So then after that, we decided to make Project Zero 2, which did a few other different game types. And then from there, we packed in software with different courses that we sold that were the higher end courses called the Elite courses. And this had Project Mayhem 1 and Project Mayhem 2. And these were really successful, and people used it and built a lot of games with them. And that's when we decided to start really focusing on the software. So we launched Buildbox in 2014. Late 2014, we did a soft launch. We didn't officially release it until January of 2015. And of course, Buildbox 2 came out last year, and the Buildbox 3 will be this year. So a lot of people think Buildbox 3 will be our 3rd game builder, when in fact, it's going to be our 7th one. So this brings me back to Publisher Elite. As I mentioned, at Game Academy, our most high-end programs were called the Elite courses, and they were packaged with our game builders. That's how all of this really started, was through these Elite courses. And so last year, I noticed a really big need with our customers and in the market. Not everyone in Publisher Elite's a Buildbox customer, but I noticed a big issue was people actually connecting with publishers. And we had this unique relationship where we have our games published. We work with all the publishers because they work with Buildbox games, and we assist them when they need it, and et cetera, et cetera. And I saw this great opportunity to help connect these developers with these publishers. And that's what we've done in Publisher Elite. So if you're wondering how Publisher Elite works, I'm going to talk about that over the next few days. We're going to be relaunching this, but before that, I'm going to give a document that I've been working on for a very long time called Published Game Design, and it's a full guide on all the different parts of game design you need to have in your game to get published. I'm going to be giving that away for free. We've also made a really great video with some of the customers from Publisher Elite, and I'll talk a little bit about what you need to do to get your game published. So even for the guys that don't join Publisher Elite, you can learn a lot from this during this time when we're releasing it again. So stay tuned. I think you're gonna really enjoy it. Trey Smith, and I'll talk to you later.
Like and subscribe.